Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning and welcome to the 22nd Renewables Talk for IRENA Permanent Representatives held under the theme From Production to Power, Applying Weather, Climate Forecasting and Artificial Intelligence in Renewable Energy. IRENA and the National Center of Meteorology of the United Arab Emirates, in partnership with the Permanent Mission of the United Arab Emirates to IRENA, are delighted to organize this event in celebration of a momentous occasion, which is the International Day of Clean Energy, observed annually on 26th of January. This date holds a particular significance for the energy transition community, as on 26 January 2009, IRENA was founded, marking the beginning of a global effort to accelerate the deployment of renewable energy worldwide. As we gather today in Abu Dhabi's state-of-art National Center of Meteorology, we have the unique opportunity to reflect on the transformative role of renewable energy and modern forecasting technologies, while commemorating IRENA's legacy and mandate in this global effort. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, it's my great pleasure to invite His Excellency Dr. Abdullah Al-Mandous, President of the World Meteorological Organization and Director General of the National Center of Meteorology, for his welcoming remarks.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Dear Excellency Franco Lacamero, Director General of IRENA. Dear Excellency Dr. Nawal Al-Hosani, the Permanent Representative of UAE to IRENA. Excellencies, dear participants, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to this edition of our Renewable Talk. As we celebrate the International Day of Clean Energy, this day serves as a reminder of our collective mission to build a sustainable and resilient energy landscape for the world. Our celebration is met with a known reality. The year 2024 was the hottest year ever recorded, and 2025 followed closely as the third warmest. As temperature rise, global energy demand has jumped 4% above the average. As we look to the future, we must also address a new massive driver of energy demand. AI is transforming our economy, but its appetite for energy is more. Global electricity demand from data center is projected to double by 2026. For those of us in the weather and energy sector, these are not just statistics, they represent an operational crisis. Their participant in a world powered by sun, wind, and water, the weather is now our primary tool of intelligence. A wind drought or a record heat wave is no longer a rare event. It is our new reality. We cannot build a 21st century energy grid using 20th century energy demand data. To succeed, we must bridge the gap between climate science and energy planning. This is why the partnership between the World Meteorological Organization and the International Renewable Energy Agency is so vital. Our partnership turns raw climate data into energy intelligence. Using WMO's global data, we help countries identify exactly where the sun shines brightly and the wind blows stronger. We are developing early warning system to shield our energy infrastructure from extreme weather. Ladies and gentlemen, at the COP28, the world made historical promises to triple renewable energy capacity by 2030. We are ensuring that every dollar invested in green transition is spent wisely. Our mission is urgent. We must move from pledges to performance. I call on all member states of ARENA and WMO to integrate climate service into your national energy plans. Invest in weather monitoring, especially in the global south where data gaps are largest. Use the WMO ARENA framework to turn climate risk into renewable opportunities. The transition to clean energy is unstoppable. Let's power the future with the data of today. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for your remarks. It's now my pleasure to invite the Director General of IRENA, Mr. Francisco Lacamera, for his welcoming remarks.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's my great pleasure to welcome you to today's session titled From Prediction to Power, Applying Weather, Climate Forecasting and AI in Renewable Energy as part of Renewable Energy Talks, hosted by the UAE Center on Meteorology in partnership with the UAE Permanent Mission to ARENA. And that's been saying this special day, that is the International Clean Energy Day. I remember that the UAE, together with Panama, has been instrumental for having the General Assembly to decide on this. That also capture, has been saying, the establishment of ARENA, I think 17 years ago. This means that they have been part of the story for 1/3 of it. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to you, Your Excellencies, Abdullah Ahmed Al-Mandouz, Director General of the National Center on Meteorology and President of the World Meteorological Organization, for hosting us here today in this very nice room, I have to say. Something that perhaps we can think useful for our council. It's very well, it's very easy, no? Everyone is look in your eyes, etc. And also thanks to His Excellencies, Dr. Naval Al-Soani, Permanent Representative of the United Arab Emirates to ARENA, for the continued collaboration and support. Today's session will explore the potential of modern weather forecasting and how climate-informed renewable energy strategies can enhance clean energy resilience amid growing climate variability. In this context, IRENA and the World Meteorological Organization 2 weeks ago launched the report 2024 Year in Review, Climate-Driven Global Renewable Energy Resources and Energy Demand at the World Future Energy Summit. The report shows that climate variability presents both risks and opportunities for the global energy transition. Our collaboration builds on this opportunity by expanding access to climate data, closing knowledge gaps, strengthening regional cooperation, and better aligning long-term energy planning with national development priorities. As reaffirmed through the UAE consensus at COP28, tripling global renewable energy capacity and doubling energy efficiency by 2030 are essential for economic resilience, energy security, and climate stability. In 2024 alone, the world added a record of 582 gigawatts of renewable power capacity, bringing total installed capacity to over 4.4 terawatts. Solar and wind made up over 2/3 of this growth, with more than 19% of new renewable capacity now cheaper than fossil fuel alternatives. These trends confirm that renewables are not only the backbone of decarbonization, but also the most competitive and secure energy choice available today. However, scale alone is not enough. Renewable energy is highly climate dependent, and variability is already impacting generation and demand. With extreme weather events quadrupling over 50 years and 2024 losses exceeding $222 billion, climate services are essential to manage operational and investment risk in energy systems. At ARENA's recent 16th Assembly, the ministerial dialogue on AI highlighted how AI improves forecasting, site selection, predictive maintenance, and grid stability, but its full potential remains untapped. Therefore, integrating intelligent solutions across the energy value chain, from resource assessment and infrastructure design to grid operation, investment decision and long-term national planning can make systems more resilient, reliable, and cost-effective. However, significant gaps persist as many countries, especially in emerging developing economies, still lack access to high-quality, localized climate and energy data. Thus, closing this gap is both a resilience imperative and a development opportunity. While renewables are economically viable, fully leveraging climate data is essential to guide the energy transition. Strengthening these links ensure energy systems are prepared for a changing climate. ARENA will continue to work closely with partners to advance the agenda and support countries in turning climate data into action. Thank you, and I look forward to today's insightful and productive discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Lacamera, for your remarks. We will now delve into a dynamic panel discussion. Let me welcome Daria Gazzola, Digital Communications Team Lead from ARENA, who will moderate the panel discussion.
Venture between Mazda and EDF to develop solar generation, energy storage, and hybrid system opportunities in the Middle East. Thank you. As we all know, over the past 2 decades, we have witnessed the progressive expansion of renewables and power generation, led by substantial increases in wind and solar capacity. Weather conditions, including wind speeds, sunlight, rainfall, and temperature, directly influence both energy demand and renewable generation. Therefore, reliable weather and climate forecasting help energy planners and grid operators prepare for high or low renewable energy production, optimize storage, or prevent grid overload. Meanwhile, digitalization and AI are rapidly emerging as critical enablers for reliable, efficient, and resilient power systems. In today's discussion, we will focus on AI's potential to revolutionize weather forecasting and help leverage weather and climate data for renewable energy. How? Let's hear from our panelists. To start off the discussion, let me direct the first question to Dr. Rao. Considering the fact that renewable energy production depends on climate conditions over different timescales, from daily operations to long-term planning, what are the major weather and climate forecasting timescales used in renewable energy production? And which specific weather variables need to be forecasted to improve renewable energy output?
Good morning, everyone. Renewable energy mainly depends upon the weather conditions. So weather forecast and climate forecast depends upon varies with time scales from minutes to hours and years and seasonal time scale. So we need to forecast first now forecasting. Now forecasting is mainly from minutes to hours forecast. When we understand the now forecasting, we can provide forecast better forecast. Particularly if you consider for solar energy, we need to understand the solar irradiance. And solar irradiance is mainly depends upon the cloud conditions. So we need to understand the cloud condition, then only we can provide the solar forecasting. Whereas for wind energy, if you take, we need to understand the up height, like 100 meters or 120 meters up height, wind speed, wind direction, and also we need to understand the turbulence. Then when we understand these four parameters, then we can provide the wind energy forecast. So for efficient operational management and grid management, nowcasting is very crucial and very important. And if you're moving to short-term scale, that means from 1 day to 3 days forecast, we need to understand the potentials of extremes. If any extremes are there in the next 3 days, we have to understand or we have to forecast that one based on the available forecast, and we issue the forecast well in advance. If another important is the medium range forecast. Medium range forecast is from 3 days to 10 days or 1 week. This forecast is highly important because here we need to understand the probability of extreme weather events. Suppose if any heat waves are there or cold waves are there, any cyclonic systems are there, we need well in advance, we need to understand that, and accordingly we have to provide the forecast to minimize the damage of the operation, plant operations, and make the grid management without any risk. And again, we have to, another forecast is the extended range forecast. It is another different scale. Here we need to calculate the forecast from weeks to up to 1 month. Here the climate forecast plays an important role, and for calculating the weekly forecast, we need to understand the anomalies. Weekly anomalies we have to calculate, and we have to give this forecast well in advance for weekly basis, so that renewable energy operations 1 week or 2 weeks ahead, we need to know if any risks are there, like that we need to understand. And another one is, important one is the seasonal forecasting. Seasonal climate forecast fills the gap between the short-term forecast as well as the long-term forecast. Long-term forecast, that too up to climate projection scale. And the seasonal patterns of wind and solar potentials, if we understand these things, based on this we can provide this forecast, seasonal forecast, and we can reduce or we can minimize the risks in the grid operations based on this seasonal forecast. Another important forecast is the decadal forecast. Decadal forecast is also one kind of climate forecast from 1 year to 10 years. This forecast highly useful to build where we need to build where any renewable energy projects. So since we have the climate data, based on the analysis of climate data, we can understand where we need to build the renewable energy project. And also we need to understand the multi-year wind droughts and solar variability, particular location. Based on that, we can suggest this place is suitable for installing solar plants or wind plants. And another one is climate projections. Climate projections give the potentialities of future wind and solar energies, and based on that, any companies will operate their strategies for reliable and operational purpose. These are the different time scales for climate and weather forecasting. As come to the variables, for solar forecasting, we need global horizontal irradiance. Global horizontal irradiance is direct normal irradiance coming from the sun. That is very important. To understand the global horizontal irradiance, we need the cloud properties and dust and aerosol layer properties. So if we want to give solar forecasting, we need to understand and we need to give this forecast as well. Whereas for wind forecasting, we need to understand the hub height for wind speed, wind direction, and again we have to see any shear is there in that, and also we need to see the turbulence is there. All these factors also very important to provide the wind forecast.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kundeti. So from your perspective, Harwinder, how does Emerge Energy use forecasting data today across both operations and construction? And what additional value would higher accuracy and more actionable forecasting unlock for your company?
Sure. Good morning, everyone. So I represent Emerge. Emerge Energy is a C&I-focused solar energy platform to provide on-site solution to various corporate and institutional customers for their solar power requirements. Now, for Emerge, this weather data or data is not just a theoretical concept, more practical concept. Based on this data, we plan our projects. We plan how much yield will generate, what would the design of our project, which technology we need to use. So this data is an input to our base investment decisions. Then during construction, with the weather data, we able to plan how the activities will go on, how probably we like project may take 6 to 7 months to develop. So we need to see if there is a month which is adverse weather condition, should we continue our activity or should we move it? So also from safety aspect. Now when once we build the project in operation phase, again it's very important because you want to predict how the sun is shining, how is the weather cloud, how the resource, how much you will generate, what is the performance of your plant. So all these variables which talk about is an input to our system. We understand these variables, we able these data which predict our performance, and then we able to supply to our customers. Now coming to the fact that if we able to get more accurate data and more information. So right now, I'm thanks to Elena and NCM both for bringing this topic to that level, because although we all use data, but it's mostly historical data. So we use data which is from satellite data or either NASA or GIS. Sometimes they correct the data with the help of some ground station in some locations. But as you have more and more ground data available, the prediction become more and more accurate. And the more accurate the predictions are, you're able to estimate the generation more accurately, which in turn give you a more fixed returns, which will boost investor confidence. So it will eventually be more capital in this sector. So if you see for solar energy, the only if you have a good technology, if you are confident in technology, the only variable parameter is the generation. So if you have a better prediction or better data available, then you will be able to minimize this variability. Say if you are able to minimize the variability of 1 to 3%, it eventually is a strong boost for your project, your returns, your predictability. So in a way, this availability of good data, high accurate and resolution data is very important for any solar project. Now, as we are moving from like pure solar projects now to a solar plus battery storage project, the need is there because solar is we don't have solar all 24 hours. Right? Thus, it's very prediction. We cannot predict it. So when we have a better data, we can plan when we need to. You can say when you're generating more, you can store it in a battery, which can be later withdrawn when during the night time. So you can plan your battery bank size. This way, the better the data, accurate the data is better for a solar power operator like us.
Thank you so much for this overview. It is clear that there is a huge value in accurate forecasting, boosting investor confidence, enhancement in planning, and so on. So moving on to Dr. Iman. Director General La Camera just mentioned that recently IRENA and World Meteorological Organization released a joint report on climate-driven global renewable energy resources and energy demand. Could you outline the main findings of this report and also tell us how IRENA is integrating climate variability and long-term climate change projections into its renewable energy assessments, particularly in the regions most vulnerable to climatic shifts?
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen and colleagues, good morning. IRENA and WMO have been collaborating for years, and we have released several reports, including the one that we have released at the WFES. So in this report, we have assessed the deviation of selected energy indicators for year 2024 from the 30 years baseline period ranging from 1991 to 2020. The report has several key messages, but mainly the report shows that the climate variability and change are shaping the renewable energy generation and demand. And as it was mentioned in the opening remarks, the year 2024 was the warmest, and this contributed to a strong shift in solar, wind, and hydropower on the resource potential, and also create differences in the patterns of the demand, energy demand. The report also shows that the climate variability and change are a core factor to consider for the performance and the operation of the energy system. And as the global renewable energy is increasing or increased to more than 4.4 terawatt, right? This raised the scale and complexity of the impact of the climate patterns on the performance of the energy system. The report also demonstrates that the impact of the climate variability and change are somehow changing year to year, and this is what we have observed when we compared the results of this report with what we have done in the previous edition for years 2023 and year 2022. The impact is also changing from one location to another, which also creates a strong contrast between the energy generation and the demand. And this demonstrates the need to have regional strategies rather than national solution, and we refer to this with the cross-border electricity trade. Finally, the main also outcome of the report is that the urgency to integrate the climate information into the energy planning, forecasting, and the operation of the energy system, basically to increase its resilience and reliability as countries are advancing to achieve the goals of the COP28 UAE consensus. So the second part of the question is how IRENA is integrating the climate variability in its analysis related to the resource assessment. Definitely for the last 10 years, IRENA has been supporting its member to understand and assess its renewable potential. So we have conducted several analyses to help some countries to identify the best zones to develop projects at utility scale. Basically to help them in planning the generation or the transmission expansion, even setting their targets. We did it last year, for instance, for Georgia, Colombia, and Mali, and this year we are finalizing the analysis for Angola under the NDC's activities. We also help other countries to identify the viable sites for developing a project, utility scale and for all technologies, and also for a city scale for a solar PV system. So in this analysis, we have used the best practices that are used by the global community, which is to use historical long-term annual averages data sets. Let's say the long-term annual average for the wind speed at 100-meter height, for instance, or the global horizontal irradiation. So this is the best practice. So we also have used the long-term hourly historical data for the renewable resources and also the meteorological data sets to basically assess the performance or the potential, I would say, of the site to host renewable projects. So definitely these data sets are estimated or calculated by reputable institutions. They have a decent accuracy, also high spatial resolution for the planning of renewable projects. And the climate variability and the extreme weather events are already captured in this data. So these are the best practice. But with the report that we have published with the WMO, our understanding of the impact of the climate variability and even change on the renewable resources and the forecasting has evolved, right? So somehow when we say we, it's not only IRENA, but the global community. We need to find a way to move away from the average year assumption and try to find a way to integrate projected climate data into the investment frameworks from the resource assessment to the financing terms. So potentially what we can do, at least at the short term, since the topic is really complex, we could quantify the impact of the climate event on the energy system infrastructure. This is what was mentioned already by the colleagues. Let's say how the solar or wind or hydropower power plants will behave in case of drought or heat wave. We could also find a way to integrate projected resource assessment and also the climate risk assessment in the evaluation process of the renewable project tender process. This not has been considered up to now, and I think, and we all think it's the time to do so. This basically will ensure that the risks are evaluated and managed and to basically ensure sustainable investment environment. This is basically the summary of my answer. Thanks.
Thank you so much for this overview and recommendations, Dr. Iman. I'd just like to add that the report is available on IRENA and WMO websites for those interested in more information. Moving back to the importance of forecasting, Dr. Rao, NMC uses a high-resolution renewable energy forecasting system. Could you tell us more about it and explain how it can support renewable energy sector?
Yeah, before discussing about the forecasting system, I would like to give overview of the observational network at NCM. NCM has a wide range of observational network. It covers entire, with automatic weather stations, it covers entire the country. And also we have the marine observations. And also we have 6 radars continuously monitor the country. And the satellite information also continuously monitor the country with weather patterns. All these are very important for giving the better forecast, because these observations will feed into the models as a data assimilation process. Based on that, we will provide the forecast. And at NCM, at present, for renewable energy forecasting, we are using ICON model. It's a isohedral, non-hydrostatic model. At 2.8 grid spacing we are using, and it is the hourly forecast we are providing at present. And the model we are running at daily 4 times. So every 6 hours model refresh the data, and the model has up to 60 vertical levels. So up to stratosphere it covers the model integration. So for that purpose we are using high resolution. So it mostly captures this convection process, and parameter schemes also involved in that. So this is the forecasting system.
Thank you so much. And just refocusing a little bit on the importance of AI and how it can revolutionize forecasting as well, could you tell us in a wider sense, how can AI techniques improve renewable energy forecasting accuracy?
Yeah. In general, AI enhances the forecast, renewable energy forecasting by processing the large-scale data sets along with the real-time data. Suppose if you take the radar systems data and the satellite data, it will take and it will process the data and it will give better forecast with the help of machine learning and deep learning techniques. In general sense, we can tell if we have the long-term data, it will AI models train the data and then blend with the NWP data and actual data, and it will provide the better forecast. And also the AI models helps to post-processing the NWP data. Suppose if the models have any bias in the models, we can correct with the help of AI models. And also we can downscale the models at the site location. Suppose if any wind or solar farm is there, at that level we can downscale the data with the help of AI models. And in the literature, mostly AI models are showing for nowcasting and short-term forecast, AI models are very useful, because in the nowcasting is actually all the time it is a challenging phenomena. Particularly if you take solar radiation, earlier I explained, cloud movement. We need to know the cloud movement or dust or AOD load. So back, if 24 hours data or something, we have to take the satellite pictures. We can integrate with that with the AI models. It will give the next 6 hours or 12 hours data. So that will highly helpful for the nowcasting. And also for short range forecast, 1 to 3 days also, it will highly helpful. in such a way that we used AI models for renewable energy forecasting.
Thank you so much. And Harvinder, looking ahead, how do you see forecasting data evolving over the next 3, 4, 5 years, especially with AI, and what kind of opportunities does it provide for Emerge?
Sure. As you see in the multiple domain of renewable energy, where the AI will find its role most dominant will be in the prediction and forecasting. So as you see, we are putting more and more renewable energy, and it is putting pressure on our grid. So the grid stability is one of the key questions now. If you able to, with that Dr. Rao said, if you able the AI model, if you able to predict your generation as well as predict the demand side requirement, then you will able to have lesser curtailment and probably able to store or use power when it's required. This manually is not very easy to do. Like energy modeling right now we do it very different stage, which is very Excel based model. But when you have an AI backed model, which can give you that energy model output, which you are predicting for maybe next 15 minutes, next 1 hour, next 2 hours, you able to have better operating levels, and you able to use more efficiently your plan. So if I say going forward, the energy transition is not only about adding more capacity, it's also about managing those capacities, adapting to the requirement, forecasting it, and being more operationally efficient. That's why AI is very key in this sector.
Absolutely. Dr. Rao just mentioned that long-term data help better forecasting. But Dr. Iman, in the regions with limited historical climate data, where do you see the greatest potential for AI to enhance renewable energy forecasting and grid integration?
I mean, the studies are clear. AI has a great potential to optimize the energy system, as it was just mentioned, because of its ability to integrate diverse and complex data sets. But the effectiveness of AI is like constrained with the availability and the quality of the data sets. And in the renewable energy sector, we know that the data sets are limited. And even when they are available, there are gaps or their quality is questioned. So the future potential from my point of view is basically lies on AI ability to carefully and elegantly combine scientific innovations with diverse data sets that are complete to basically overcome the issues that it was just mentioned earlier. So one of the issues is the lack of data. So there are already statistical approach to solve the issue or address the issues of the lack of data. To prepare at least the data sets. And we have the cleaning, normalization, even the imputation techniques. We have this is to basically address the issues of specific data sets. There are also some techniques, statistical rigging, to basically estimate data sets at different locations. These are all fine, but AI can improve the quality of these data sets. But when we consider other data sets, such as the satellite measurement, weather stations measurement, even geographic data. And here we can create, I would say, even if I want to be ambitious, comprehensive data sets that can be used in different disciplines. Another issue that the AI can address is the problem that we have with the weather forecasting model that have inherent inaccuracy that is propagated naturally to the renewable energy modeling when we estimate the performance of the power plants. So AI, again, can be used when we use diverse data sets from the satellite measurement, reanalysis data sets, measurements from the power plant itself, from the ground measurement. All of these can be used to enhance the accuracy of the data sets of the forecasting model, right? And it will be used not only for managing the operation of the power plant, but also for the price forecasting, if in case the open market participation is open, right? So the last point is what was mentioned by my colleagues here, is the near forecasting, near real-time forecasting, the no-casting. This is also can help a lot in the managing the stability of the grid, specifically in the dispatch decision, or managing the short-term variability of the grid. So this is, from my point of view, at least the main point where AI can have a great potential to solve at least the short-term issues. Thank you.
Thank you so much to our panelists for sharing your experience with us and spotlighting the crucial role of climate forecasting for the renewable energy sector and underscoring AI's potential as a game changer for energy transition, also in the context of climate forecasting. Thank you for your participation. Over to you, Hamda.
Thank you, Daria, and many thanks to our esteemed panelists for the insightful discussion. I think we can all agree that the discussion has given us a lot to reflect on and a lot of advancements to anticipate in the years to come. As we draw towards the conclusion of this event, it's my honor to invite Her Excellency Dr. Nawal Al-Hosani, Permanent Representative of the United Arab Emirates, to IRENA to deliver some closing remarks.
Thank you so much, Hamda. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, a very, very good morning to all of you. Dr. Abdullah, thank you very much for hosting us in this beautiful venue, but also in this remarkable establishment. As you all know, today we celebrate the International Day of Clean Energy, but we also celebrate achievement and innovation and something that is very, very important, which is weather forecasting. We heard from our panelists, we heard from our keynote speakers, and we understand the opportunities that this collaboration between multilateral organization can achieve to the world. So with that, before I bring my closing remarks, I would like to announce that we are going to be allocating some of our voluntary contribution to IRENA to focus on exactly the theme of this panel, which is how we can move from production to power, how we can apply weather and climate forecasting and AI in renewable energy. And the UAE, as you all know, and Abu Dhabi, as you all know, not only host this amazing establishment, but we are also the host of one of the most remarkable and I think the best universities in AI. So there are so much synergies that we see, and we heard the challenges, but we also, as always in the UAE, we understand the opportunities. And with every challenge, there is an opportunity. There is an opportunity to collaborate, to innovate, and to basically utilize the resources that we have in hand to move forward. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I would like first to thank all of you for being here, your excellencies and representative of the diplomatic corps and the PRs to IRENA. 4 of you members of NCM for being with us here today and for giving us very, very precious gift, which is your time and your venue. And I would like to maybe take also on the generous offer of NCM to take you on a tour of this amazing establishment. So once more, thank you very much. And we are very proud to have you here in one of the most important establishments, not only for the UAE, but for the world, and to celebrate more the collaboration and the cooperation between all of us to achieve what is very, very important, which is sustainable energy for all, clean energy for all, and more importantly, an innovation for all of us and the well-being for all our nations. Thank you so much, Your Excellencies. Ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for your remarks. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the culmination of this event brings us to a moment of shared joy and celebration. As we reflect on the collective achievements that have brought us to this point, please join us for a group photo in celebration of the International Day of Clean Energy. The group photo will be followed by a guided tour of the NCM, showcasing cutting-edge technologies in weather forecasting, which you will find inspiring. Following the guided tour, you are all invited to a brunch and an informal networking session. Thank you.